listen carefully to this one. Very poetic. The struggles and themes throughout Flower from Exile strike a deep universal chord, almost seeming to be grounded in archaic mythology, but it seems that they may have, at least in part, been inspired by specific family stories. Would Mr. Reuter care to elaborate on the personal sources of some of these lyrics?
Sorry, that was Kyoko walking by. No, yeah, well, I mean, it's right, of course, that I try to. I always try to touch on something universal, while actually talking about more intimate, personal stuff. Or what I try to do on the records is find a voice of a specific character, develop, sort of a unique language, and which works within that situation, but also on more of a global level.
Yeah.
You work with images. It's like in literature. You say one thing, you mean another. And with Flowers, there was a family background to that. That was actually what made me do it. There's a part of my family that was fighting in the war against Franco, and I wanted to find out more about that.
Yeah.
And just because out of my own curiosity, I wanted to know about that part of my family. So that's what got me started, and then I just felt there was a record in there that needed to be done.
Okay. What do you think about man's behavior towards animals?
It could be better. I mean, I was a vegetarian for a while. I stopped doing that, but I was involved in some minor animal protective kind of stuff. Some of it is actually still, well, I shouldn't be talking about that, but I was in that scene for a while actually. But that was when I was like 12, 13. And I kind of, I guess I'm a coward for settling with that. So, it's just, I mean, there's so many fights going on. You can't fight on all the fronts, but I certainly feel close to animals, and I mean, I try to. I personally, I never buy meat. I eat meat. I do eat meat, and I actually do enjoy eating meat. I have to say. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying, yeah, man should not eat meat.
Yeah.
I think it's natural for us to eat meat, but it's not natural for us what we're doing with the animals. That's two different things. In an archaic kind of tribe or whatever, I wouldn't be a vegetarian. If the animals were running around freely and having fun and killing each other, I would happily kill one of them and eat them. That's no problem there. But it's just when it comes to the industry of killing, that's a different thing. But I'm not involved in that anymore.
Okay. What are some of your hobbies apart from music?
Hobbies? I don't have any hobbies. I had one hobby and I turned it into my way of life. So I did, when I was younger, I played, I did some part-time acting sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I played in a lot of bands. And when Rome got somewhat bigger, I had to choose between acting or music. Because at the time, that was just before Rome started, I had 1 year where I was doing a lot of acting. And I just found, well, there were like 3 projects, and actually I had the lead role in one of them, and it was a lot of work and it was a lot of fun, and I had 2 more projects like that within that year, and it was great. But at the same time, it took all my time and energy, and I couldn't do music that year. And at the end of that year, I thought, well, this was great, but I could never just do acting. I would always miss music. whilst I do music now, I only do, and sometimes I do miss acting, but it's something I can live with, not doing that. So that was one of my hobbies that I don't have anymore because there's just no time. I mean, if you're gonna do a play or something like that, it's you either you do it to the best abilities and or you don't. I don't want to be a part-time actor. It's not going to do any good. So and apart from that, I don't have any. All my interests are in Rome. I like reading and I like all that sort of stuff. Boy, stop that. Sorry. So yeah, I don't have any hobbies. If that's your answer.
Okay. Concerning
one hobby we have.
One hobby, yeah. One hobby I'm not going to mention here. No, I'm just kidding.
Concerning Patrick Damiani, why isn't he a member of Rome anymore?
Well, just because he lives and works in another country, and he's got his studio to take care of, and he's very busy with that. And it was already quite complicated at the time because he was just. I recorded the albums with him because I lived sort of just a couple of miles away from his studio, and I knew him from the old days. He's from Luxembourg too, but he's been working in Germany forever, and. So even when he was part of Rome, which was only after, like he was, I think it was like 1 or 2 seasons where he played in the band, and I mean he couldn't do that much work for Rome now. It's just it keeps me very busy, and I had to drive around a lot, and it made things quite complicated. And also he's got other stuff in his life, and so that's why. And most of all, I moved out of Germany. So, I mean, we're just by geography we're separated,
Yeah.
because it's just too much. It's just too much to travel those distances all the time. I was working with other musicians in the band as well, who were coming from different places, and in the end, it just like all the people I work with now are from my area, or I know them from way back, and it's easier.
It's easier.
You know what you're going to do, and it's that's why.
Okay. Alors, you once mentioned in an interview that you used to play in a black metal band, even before your old punk band. When was this exactly?
I was 12 or something. It was like my first band.
Okay.
And like I said, I was about 12, and there were a couple of lads at school who were into metal, and they wanted to start a band, and they were all guitar players, and I was a guitar player too. So, but they had guitars and gear. They had good, like, expensive guitars and the big amps. I didn't have any of that. So they just said, well, you're not going to be the guitar player then, you're going to be either the bass player or the drummer. And so I thought, well, I haven't played the drums yet, so I worked for a while during a summer vacation, get some money to buy a drum kit, and I just started playing, and then we did that for a year or two, and at the end of that, we sort of turned into a black metal band. But I was playing. I was my punk phase then. I had a mohawk, and that didn't go well with all the black metal kids.
Yeah.
But that's just I listen to metal a lot, but I listen to a lot of stuff. So that's it. It was just one of the bands I played in.
Did you release anything with this band?
No. We this was like the very first band, and those people I worked with, they now have their own bands. Some of them actually are doing well, but they're doing like electronic music now. Okay. And I'm doing Rome, which is completely different. But we never got to recording anything. I think we only had like 2 or 3 gigs, and then the band kind of split because the other people wanted to do grunge. And I never liked grunge, so I said, no, I'm off doing punk. So that's the story. We just had one gig that was actually a big gig for us, But after that, we sort of split. So I'm still looking for rehearsal tapes, because we did those tapes just to remind ourselves of the songs and how they went, because they were these black metal songs with this like 7 minutes worth of music, and it just goes on and changes all the time, and you could hardly remember it. So we did record the sessions, but I haven't found them yet.
And do you remember the name of this band?
Anthropophagia.
Okay.
God. Wrong time.
Okay, I wasn't even aware of this. How got involved in the tribute to David E. Williams? I will put the link below the interview. A Man Needs a Man Friend, 2007.
Well, that was before the first album was released. Before the first album was released, I got contacted. So the EP Berlin was out, and I got contacted if I wanted to participate in that. I didn't know Williams at all, I have to say, but I knew some of the bands that were on there, and I liked some of them, and I just wanted to be a part of that. You know, that it's as simple as that. You know, you're young, you want to make your mark, and so you agree to stuff. Well, you know, I don't regret it or anything. It's just something I did, which I wouldn't do now. And back then, it seemed like a good idea. In the end, like half of those bands that I went in to do that for, they left because they didn't like the project. So, but yeah, that's how. That was just one of the. I got asked to do a lot of those kind of things later, but I never agreed on it because, you know, if you want to do a song like that, you know, you need to go to the studio if you want it to sound good, and that takes a lot of money, and a lot of your time, and I would rather do my own stuff. You know, it's as simple as that. So.
Okay. Some Polish fans would like to know who cancelled the gig in their country.
There were 2 gigs cancelled. One gig was cancelled last year. That was because of me. I cancelled the whole tour. It had nothing to do with Poland.
Okay.
So that was just me cancelling everything. And this one now just got cancelled because, you know, nobody was in contact with us anymore. We were working with these guys, and everything seemed fine. That's why we started advertising the show. But then, like 2 months before the show, there was no more emails. I tried to reach them. There were no flights booked. There was no hotel booked.
Okay.
There was nothing booked, and so I had to make a decision. Listen, you know, what's going on? You know, are these gigs still happening or not? And I didn't get a reply for several weeks, and then I just had to take the decision. You know, so I wrote them another mail yesterday, like, listen, okay, now it's cancelled, so just tell me what happened. I haven't got a reply yet, so okay. I don't know, maybe there was some emergency with the booker. I don't know. I really don't know. So.
Okay. Concerning the song Der Wolf Manstol, are the lyrics meant to be ironic, or do you hold a disdain for individuality?
I don't hold a disdain like that. No, No, I like being an individual. No, I don't think that's the point. I don't think that's what the song says. I would have to listen to it again. It's been a while, but no, I don't hold disdain.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. We can hear a whistle tune sample at the beginning and at the end of Nos Champs Perdus.
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
That whistle, it's something I found while I was doing the research for Nos Champs Perdus, and it was on a very old documentary that I couldn't find anywhere a proper copy of it. And they were talking about the Commune de Paris, and they were at some point they were showing these lads building the barricades and stuff like that, and they had this whistling going on in the background, and it was just a snippet, I think it was like 5 or 6 seconds of that, and it was intriguing to me. So I just I sort of filtered that out of there, and actually it's me and some other guys in the studio whistling.
Okay.
You know? But it's I don't know what it is, what the original song is. Probably the original song isn't like that at all. I don't know. But it was just something. It seemed right at the time to include that, because that was also what the record was about, and it just had this feeling that was intriguing. So that's the story.
Okay. On the cover of Mastermensch material, there are two dolls. Do they represent the laughing side and the sad side of a person, a kind of yin and yang?
They probably do to some extent, I guess. You know, it's like that with pictures that you know kind of work or are intriguing in some way. It's a picture I took in the basement of an old the theatre I was a part of. They have this huge basement full of clothes and mannequins and stuff like that. So there were these two old dolls, half ripped apart and very, very old. And they just stood there, and I just liked the sight of that. And so I asked a friend for his camera, and we took some pictures just because I liked what I saw. And I guess I liked what I saw because, yeah, those two characters are intriguing. I just liked the way they were messed up. But there's no philosophical background to it. It's just, you know, you see something, it makes sense to you, and you take it.
Okay. What is your typical daily routine?
I don't really have a routine as such. But I usually get up at 6 at the latest and start working, because that's when it's quiet. I used to work at night, but that just ruined everything. I mean, years ago I still had a job to do to get the money to pay the rent. That would be during daytime, so at night I would work, so basically I would never get any sleep. But that's just the way it was, you know. Like the first couple of albums I wrote, I was selling absinthe in a store in Germany, and basically whenever there was no customers, I would be under the table writing lyrics. That's where Berlin was written. And so I always try to find ways around to get some work done. But now that I'm pretty much free to do what I want, at first I worked through the night, but then I thought it was really tiring and messed up everyone's schedule. And then I found it's best to just start early and get a lot of work done before everybody else wakes up. That's my schedule, and then, you know, at some point I eat something. And obviously you have a different schedule on tour. Every day, you know, you pretty much try to get some sleep whenever you can. So when we're on tour, I usually sleep in the afternoon after sound check. But when I'm home or somewhere like home, I usually get up early in the morning and work.
Okay. I quote a typically female question: is there a reason why you cut your hair short?
Well, I mean, I'm losing my hair anyway, so I just thought, well, why not just get rid of it right away?
Okay.
And it's practical.
Where do you live now, and why did you move there?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you have a significant other?
Significant what?
Significant other?
I don't know.
Okay. Would you like to share with us one or some of the most influential or memorable moments of your childhood?
I don't know. I mean, apart from hearing music and seeing theatre being made, as in being like prepared and worked on, and I had a lovely childhood. I had a very secure, nice childhood. There was no drama. Anyway, I was very protected in a way. But I had the chance of traveling a lot when I was a kid, so that's probably what shaped me more than anything.
Is there one country that particularly makes you know?
No, there's not one country. It's just the traveling itself.
Okay.
Being on the road, meeting new people, changing your environment on a regular basis. That's not a specific country.
No. Oh. And the last question: could you give us an overview of your upcoming activities, 2012, concerning albums?
Yeah. Well, I'm writing now again. Like the work on the trilogy has been finished for a while, and I've recently been very inspired to do something else.
Yeah.
So there will be an X record next year.
Okay.
I'm planning on releasing something in 2012.
Uh-huh.
Don't know when. I mean, not before summer, but yeah. But I'm not recording yet, and I'm not finished writing, but I'm writing, and I'm going to be releasing things. I plan on playing some shows too.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2012 is probably going to be busy for me. Yeah, I hope so.
Does this next record will be in the same branch that?
No.
No.
No, the next one will be. I have a very different approach.
Okay.
Now, for me, it was like Nous Chants Perdus and Flowers were different, and the trilogy for me is like sort of going back to some of the stuff I did, because I felt there were things that I hadn't addressed yet from the theme, but also from the music. I wasn't too happy with Nous Chants Perdus. In retrospect, I felt it was like overproduced, and I just these records for me were like I had to do them, you know, because that's what I want. I wanted them to sound like that, and I wanted, yeah. So now, after having done that, it's for me it's like a new beginning. So it's like I finished. I finished that. All that stuff is done for me. Maybe I'll do something like that later on. I don't know. I never know what I'm gonna be wanting to do. Like 5 years from now, I don't know. I remember when I finished Massa Mensch, I didn't want to do a record like that ever again. But I think that certainly the third part of the trilogy, in some ways, close to Massa Mensch, stylistically, and that's fine. I really like it, and it happens to be like that. But like 3 years ago, I wouldn't never dream of doing something like that. It's not the same record, not at all. But looking at it now, it kind of seems a bit familiar. But now after this trilogy, that's it with that. For now.
Okay, alright. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you.